she calls me up, she goes, Sue, you want to go to a Sasquatch convention? And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I know this Dr. J guy. He's really cool. And she was telling me about Scott Taylor, and she went out with those guys in the field and stuff. And I said, well, heck yeah, I want to go. Okay, I'm going to get everything done. You just be ready. I'm picking you up. I said, okay. And so I even went to GC's truck stop and got me a Sasquatch shirt so I could look cool. And when I got to his thing, here's Bob Dimlin, the first guy I meet, and I'm like, he comes up and plants this big old kiss on my lips, and I'm like, whoa, he's pretty hot to trot for an old man. I never looked at an old man like that before. I was like,
Typical.
so excited though about being around everybody that believed in Bigfoot. I mean, I was like, you can shut me up. You believe it? Let me hear your story. What's going on? Let's talk about it. It was like, because I held it in for so many years. I wouldn't say nothing to nobody. They look, you heard an elk or you heard a cat. You can tell me what a cat and it don't sound nothing like that. Nothing. And so, and I've had a couple encounters since then, but it was like, I've got to meet Dr. Meldrum, I got to meet Survivor Man, I got to meet, Ron Moorhead and Tom Cantrell, Tom Powell, and I've met all these people, but like everybody says, it's Dr. J. It was the first time I went there, I was like, this guy's a psychologist? Are you serious?
What's you trying to say there, girl? Yes,
you put a lot on the line
One of the mental doctors.
to open up to what you were experiencing. And then I'm like, what? Portals? What? And I'm like,
cuckoo.
hey, he's not that far away. And I'm thinking, how can I get there? How can I get there, right?
Yeah.
And but I didn't want to be too much of a groupie. I already knew you had too many on you.
You didn't hear that, babe.
So
Like
we
I
went.
don't
We
know.
got to every one of his conventions for the last 3 years, and it's been really awesome, and just to be around you guys is really awesome too. It's just,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Susan. Now from Susan to Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan Taylor, and let's see, how do I start? Okay, so when I was younger, I lived in California and Oregon, and
We're at in Oregon.
Grants Pass, Oregon.
Yes! Yes! Awesome. Grants Pass. Go
I
ahead.
had an uncle there years ago when I was younger who witnessed a Bigfoot crossing the road in front of him when he was a truck driver. And that kind of started my interest in Bigfoots, and I've had quite a few paranormal experiences throughout my life, maybe more like, ghosts and different things like that
stuff
too. And so enough to know that there's, stuff going on out
that we
there.
don't know.
Right. And so as time went on, I got more interested in the Bigfoot part of that. And so I tried to sign up for a BFRO expedition, which I ended up not going to. And then I ended up going to a talk that Scott was having, it was like 2013. It's a long time ago.
Is that when you fell in love?
No.
Wow.
No. And so I was just fascinated by, his talk and the other people there that were telling their stories and stuff like that too. And so I wanted to learn more. And I went out with Scott quite a bit and on witness investigations, and we would hear whoops and howls and see prints and different things like that too on some of the expeditions and just some of the investigations. And then I started going to the meetings and met Dr. J and Cynthia, and some of you in this room too, and so everybody got to share their stories, which was super awesome. I've only had what I think is just one sighting of a Bigfoot, and it was far away. And it was one of those things like it's far enough away, you're just going, is that a person walking through the woods or a Bigfoot? But I really think given the location and the fact that it was just kind of brown and stuff, that it was a Bigfoot, even though it was far away. And I've also had some experience with being healed by Bigfoots too.
Where?
Down in Soya.
Ooh, Soya.
Dr. J.
Yes.
And that was super awesome, and that was unlike anything I've ever experienced before. So, and once it happens to you, you know exactly what it is. And other than that, I really want to learn more and experience more and see more. So I try to come out and get together with people and go out and, you know, walk around in the woods and do things that will attract their attention. And we have a house out in the woods now where I think we're having some Bigfoot activity. So I'm really excited about that too. And I'm very excited to be here with all of you tonight.
Thank you, Susan. Scott Taylor.
Hi, I'm Scott Taylor. I don't know anything about Bigfoot.
And what you're doing here with all this
Yeah, I
kooks.
wonder who all these crazy people are.
Yeah.
You gotta be crazy to believe in Bigfoot.
Yep.
No, I've been the FRO investigator since 2006. 2005, I had my first encounter while hunting up in the Wainuchi Valley, and scared the what out of me. But it was definitely profound, and felt there was a connection that was made that made me want to learn more and more and more, and that's why I went on an expedition in 2006 and had a blast. And after that, they asked me to be an investigator, and I started following up, and I learned pretty quick that the people that have the most to say are the people that live out in the countryside, like here, and live with them. And so there's probably half a dozen places where I've been doing research and become friends with those people. Now we're almost like family. And they just keep telling me what's going on and new stuff's happening all the time. 2010, the Oregon Sasquatch Symposium, I met Dr. J. He talked about PTSD with Bigfoot witnesses, which resonated with me because I had suffered that way back when I was in the Marine Corps. So I understood it, but I recognized a lot of witnesses deal with that regularly. And so, we talked and became friends and colleagues. And so it's been a lot of fun learning from what Dr. J is experiencing and going, how does that correlate to what my witnesses are experiencing? How does that correlate to what I'm experiencing? And early on, I threw away the whole idea of the spot and gawk kind of approach. I never owned a trail camera until I met Susan. I married Susan. I inherited some trail cameras, but I just knew they didn't work. I had the good fortune of being tutored by a guy named Mel Scahan, who is a Yakima Indian forester, and he's their authority on the reservation on Bigfoot. So I got the one-on-one all afternoon with him, and we found a Bigfoot track, nice big one, trailed it both directions for a ways. Had a great time, learned a lot, but I learned that the Native American take on it is the accurate one. Even though, us European types look at that and we go, oh, that's just superstition. No, it's not. They really know what's going on. And so if you pay attention to that, you can never get one to open up to you, you find out a lot more. Mm-hmm. And, but anyway, what I was learning, going, through my investigations, dovetailed really well with what Dr. J was experiencing and reporting. So it was all correlating really well. So anyway, we've been friends for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And been to Soya. Was sleeping next to Susan when they were working on her. They were cloaked because I kept peeking.
Are there any Bigfoot up there in Soya?
Oh yeah, it was hilarious when you turned on your truck light, not knowing that they were standing there, and they about tripped over their own feet trying to get out of there.
Yep.
But they were cloaked. But yeah, we found footprints in the next morning, and it's just great fun being around them. I mean, they're kind of like my family now too. They're all connected. And heard Dr. J say it, and one knows, they all know. And I think when you have a real up and close encounter with them, and lay eyes on them, you're connected with them too. And they kind of, their presence reaches out and pulls you in, and then you end up connected to other people who are connected to them, and it's kind of a cool feeling. So, I could go on for hours, so I won't.
Thank you, Scott.
I'm Alicia Watson, and I'm up from Bedford, Oregon.
Yay, Medford.
And
So I don't want to hear anybody complaining about driving from Eugene.
I too, with the Patterson Gimlin film, I was 6 when it came out, so I'm sure I probably saw it as soon as it was broadcast on television. I grew up on television, so I'm sure I saw it, and it just, just something, it spoke something in my heart. So, and having lived so close to that area, and just in anything I could see on TV, I'd watch. I was a Finding Bigfoot fan forever. It's like I can't even watch any of that kind of stuff now. I mean, I don't even watch any of those programs.
How not to find Bigfoot?
Yeah, none of them.
right.
Yeah, my Expedition Unknown and Destination Truth and Josh Gates and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I thought I can't watch any of them. Oh, it's about a big ape monkey. No. But I had heard that a psychologist. I think I was watching one of those programs and I saw the story on what happened with Matt and his family. And oh my God, the Oregon Caves, that's so close. And so it was like, I've got to go hike that trail. I've got to go hike that trail. Well, finally, me and my partner hiked from the Applegate Valley, which is on the backside of Cave Junction, over the trails, up over the mountain to the Oregon Caves, and we did the Bigfoot trail, or the Big Tree Trail, and I was looking the whole time, I just felt like I was like that one step closer. I'm actually taking a step towards maybe I'll get to see something, And and now I think back and it's like, okay, I've been in the woods. I worked in the woods in the Forest Service for a while right out of high school, and I spent a lot of time in the woods just hiking. And I've actually heard a tree fall, and I thought it is so, unusual to be in the woods and just hear a tree fall. And now I think, I wonder if it was somebody letting me know they're there. This is really like my the beginning of it for me. I've been following Dr. J, watching the YouTube things.
Like this YouTube video, but if you're watching it, I want you to scroll down all the way to the bottom and then work your way up. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
And, still thinking that it's like the old traditional ways, that that's how it is. And except for he's getting to the food part, that's cool. And I knew he was so close to where I was. And so it's like it became attainable because he's there. And so those videos, and before the catching the soya and all that videos, I had caught the video where up here in Washington, him and Cynthia were down behind your house, I think, where the one came out and you could see his footprints going in the leaves, but you couldn't see him, and then it hit his shoulder, and that was like the very first spark of going, oh, the woo-woo, idea. And I've always really been interested in things like, could I bend a spoon with my mind, and just that kind of stuff. I don't know why, but it's my interest, And so that really just made sense to me. So I've been following him ever since, and then I saw, oh my gosh, Teams Watching USA. So I joined that, and then we have meetings first Friday of every month at Elmer's in Medford. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to my partners. You guys should go. I was like, why not? I'm gonna go. So I went, I got to go to 2 of them, and he was like, I wish I could tell you guys, but I can't. I've been told I can't tell you. I'm like, I'm going to Bremerton. I wasn't getting my choir singing. That was the same weekend as our one concert we had a year. I'm like, I'm not going to be in the concert. I'm going. And I didn't end up going because I had surgery and stuff. So there's like, I'm coming this time. I'm driving up here. I want to experience this. I'm 100% in. It's my dream and wish to, and honor to be able to have one of them reach out to me. And it says if you have an open mind and a good heart and everything, they will reach out to you. And so that's, and
Awesome.
a donut.
And a donut. Chocolate covered donut.
And Dr. J's the only one I'll follow. So, glad to be here.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. Next, Scott Taylor's Aunt Patti.
Hi, everybody. 8 years ago, I became Scott's aunt, married his uncle. That's how it works.
All in the family.
Yeah, all in the family. I've always believed in Bigfoot and other things growing up. Not that I'd ever seen anything. I spent a lot of time in Girl Scouts out in the woods. Never paid attention. Actually, really enjoy it when I was younger. But I've always believed in things, and always figured that there were other things in this world other than us, because it just didn't make sense. It'd be an awful waste of space if it's just us. And so I always believed in stuff like that, and I get premonitions every once in a while, and I'm intuitive on other things, and never really paid much attention to it. It was just the way that it is. And 3 years ago, when my husband and I moved over to Whidbey Island, we got to meet Scott and have lunch every once in a while through my work in Tacoma. And so he started sharing the Bigfoot thing, and I was just really fascinated. And he had a group that goes out, and I thought, oh, I'm all into that. Let's go, you know. And so the first time I went, I was scared to death, just totally scared to death. And I planned to sleep in my car, which I did, and I was fine until it got dark. And then I was actually pretty okay until Scott said, now, just so you know, sometimes they'll come and lean in and look in your window.
What an awesome nephew you are.
That night was probably the worst night I've ever had in my life. I was so scared. And the next day I had to leave. I just couldn't, I wasn't ready. Just was not ready for whatever it was. But I've gone on several other trips with Scott, and so we've heard some things, we've seen some things. But then this last July, I was really privileged to be invited to Soya with Dr. J, and it just totally changed my life as far as what I knew to be real and what I didn't know to be real. And I saw one, we heard them all the time for the 3 or 4 days that we were there, 3 nights, 4 days. And just amazing. When I told my husband, I said, I don't care if I ever see one. I want to hear one. That's all I want to do. I just want to hear one. And I got that times 10, visiting Soya. And the one night where they were healing everybody, I felt movement on my leg, and which was really interesting. And they somebody spent quite a part of the night going up and down my calf. And then next morning I told Dr. J, I said, hey, I got touched. It was really cool, And he's like, well, what's wrong? What was wrong with your calf? And I said, nothing wrong with my calf. Well, 3 weeks later, I fell on concrete and broke my kneecap. And my doctor said that it should have been a heck of a lot worse than it was. So you decide. And then 3 weeks later, and I had been asking and talking to them, because they followed me home. I have them in my home pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. And I had asked them, if it's in the Lord's will and it's okay with you guys, feel free to heal, because I couldn't walk. I was using a walker. It was really horrible. And I woke up one Saturday morning, middle of the night, and it was just burning, horrible pain, which really wasn't that much different than the previous 2 weeks, but it was just super intense. And I didn't think much about it. I took a pain pill and went back to bed. And the next morning I got up to go to the restroom like I normally do, and I walked just fine. And I couldn't walk the day before. And so I started yelling at my husband, look, watch, and I'm walking. And it was amazing. I've never had anything like that happen to me. And they've touched me a couple of other times when I've been ill with tummy junk and other things. And they're in my house. It's really fun. I'm convinced they play with my cat. Their little kids play with my cat when we go to bed. Because I hear them running up and down the hallway. And my husband is so funny because he's like, really? Okay, if you say so, you know, and he's got an open mind, but he hasn't partaken of what I've partaken of because he doesn't like camping. But he's great to be supportive, and he was going to be here tonight, but his daughter had surgery, and he felt he needed to be there. But it's just been a wild ride, and I'm just so thankful to be here tonight, and just to continue and to meet everybody else. It's way cool.
Thank you, Patti.
Thank you.
Alex.
Wow. I just all in my head now. I can't even think of anything. But I'm Alex Carson. I'm from Bremerton, Washington. My story's kind of interesting. My first experience was like 40 years ago, and I had taken a bunch of kids hiking and didn't realize what was there. You know, kids were complaining that something was following us in the woods, and being a former Marine, I said, okay. I took my assistant and put her up front, and I took up the rear, and sure enough, something was following us. And then disappeared, and I never thought anything about it 40 years later until this friend of mine, bless his heart, he's like a brother to me, been bugging me to go elk hunting for years, you know, like teach fencing and taught martial arts and 9 yards, I'm busy with kids, and I turned him down, so then he finally, you know, he started having heart attacks and strokes, and I said, well, this is going to be his last year. This was like 2 years ago. I said, I'll go hunting with you. And we went up to our hunting place, and yeah. And I'm sitting down there at the bottom of this hill. I'm cutting this kind of short, but I'm at the bottom of a hill instead of being at the top like most hunters would be. And I'm sitting there, and next thing you know, I hear in my left ear, Alex. I'm like, wait a minute. Somebody's messing with me. I pull my radio out of my pocket. It's not even turned on.
Wow.
So I stick it back in my pocket, and it was sunny out, a little foggy. So I look up the clear cut up top of the hill, and there it was, the great big portal. And he was standing right there, cloaked. And he looked at me. I looked at him. I said, yeah. And then next thing you know, he walks in. I'm still sitting there. I'm not scared. I was like, yeah, I'm pumped, you know. I watched it disappear, and it trailed right down the hill, and it opened up again 50 feet away from me. And I didn't see anything go in.
Wow.
I'm thinking, okay, that was cool. I said, well, if they were going to harm me, they'd have done it already. Okay, they could have done me in already. I'm saying, okay, cool. I didn't have any other experiences at that time, and so when I finally got home, you know, I was like pumped. I was ready. I wanted to know what this portal thing was, right? I had no idea. And so I'm looking around through bookstores and stuff, and well, I wouldn't really tell you much, you know. And then next day I walked into what do you call them? Not a medieval store, but anyway, they had a bunch of books there, and I happened to pull out a book and flopped it open, and there it was, portals. I'm like, wow. So I was reading that. I said, well, this explains exactly what I saw. Okay, cool. And then I was listening to Coast AM. And I've always wanted to go to these conferences, but I was always like a day late and $1 short, you know. Boom, Bigfoot conference, boom. UFO, I was like, I'm going. Took my best friend and made reservations out there, and that's when I met Dr. J and listened to his stories, and it was amazing because, you know, I've heard a lot of stories and watched Bigfoot on TV and stuff like that, and I knew most of them were full of crap. And so then when I heard his story, I could just feel the honesty through him, you know. And then after it was all over, I went and told him my story, and then we had a conference. He's looking for his wallet. He lost his wallet at the restaurant.
That's right, yes.
And remember that? So he's like, wow, where was it at? In his back pocket.
Yeah.
So
It cloaked. My wallet cloaked on me.
So we sat down and we had a conference. We talked, you know, and I told him what I thought I saw, and he asked, "What do you think? Where do you think they're living?" I go, "Well," and from what I took from it and looked, I said, "Well, we're living in the trees." He gave me the Matt Johnson look. You need to come to the reveal. I said, okay, and I went there and he revealed what was happening. But since that time, between there and the conference, I had visitations at my house. I heard them come into my house, and they levitated me out of my chair.
Nice.
And they were, I'm thinking, all right, this is it. We're going to the UFO, you know. And I could feel them just pick me up. They picked me up, and then next thing you know, I could feel the energy going up and down my body, so I knew something was wrong.
Wow.
Okay, and they healed me. And so then after that, I'd been going out in the woods and took some sandwiches and did the old Matthew Johnson thing. And I didn't put any plates out. I did put some paper plates out, and I put the stack of sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, the red raspberry. and then I took some donuts and I put them out there, right? And I set them up, and then at that time I was kind of like communicating with them a little bit. And then one day they called me up and said, "Come up here, get these. Come up. You need to come up here. You need to come up here." It rained. So I'm going up there. It's raining. So I went the next day, and they had eaten like 3 of the sandwiches. But since it wasn't plain wheat bread, it had wheat bread with nuts in it. When I read the book, I was like, oh, there's nuts in that bread. He didn't like it, right? But the coolest thing about it was no animals disturbed the whole thing. And they'd been sitting there for like 2 days.
Wow.
And no animal. This one sandwich was, 2 sandwiches were missing. So I picked them up, tossed them, and then from there, took my daughter out, do it one day out daylight. We were out way up in the Olympics, and then I be looking around and stuff. People were shooting the craziness out of the woods and stuff, you know. And then I took her home, and then about 3 or 4 days later, told my best friend, I said, "Hey, let's go squatching." He's all excited. He goes, "Yeah." So he had his sleeping bag and his cot, and then for some reason I told him, I said, "We're not gonna spend the night. Let's just go." So I got my car, and we're driving up in the hills, and went by a few lakes, and I knew exactly where it was going. I said, "Okay, I think," and I'm saying, roll the windows down. I'm just listening, and I said, "This is the spot." And I pulled over, and I had my Native American drums with us, you know, and he's beating on one, and I'm beating on the other. He has no rhythm at all to save his life. And I'm like, "You're supposed to stay with me." And he's there beating away, right? And you could hear the waterfall and the water going, you know, and then the next thing you know, I stopped. You know, and he is psychic, really is. He has been since I've known him. Okay, you ask him if you lost something, he'd find it. Oh, it's over here, right? And so then I'm sitting there, and for some reason I pulled my drum out. My drum's out of tune because of the weather, you know. It sounds terrible. When I'm beating away, and the next thing, you know, he jumps up. "We gotta go." "Well, what do you mean we gotta go?" "They're telling us to leave." I go, "It's because of the drumming?" He goes, "That's part of it." You know? And I'm like, okay, fine. I said, "Where do we gotta go?" They're saying they don't want us here, and there was no smells, nothing, you know. And I can't hear them, but he's hearing them, right? And I'm like, okay. He says, and he jumps up and he's starting throwing things in the back of the car. And I go, wait. I said, "Look, I come all the way up here. I want to meet you. I don't want footprints. I don't want any scat hanging on my wall. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want to meet you personally." And he goes, next thing he calms down. We're having a real decent conversation. So I said, "Are you the ones that healed me?" He goes, "Oh no, we're everywhere. We live downtown, all 9 yards." I go, "Yeah," and they've always lived in cities. And I was like, "Wow." He goes, "Well, you guys should come back up here." And we never did go back. We're supposed to go back in a couple weeks maybe.
Wow.
But it's been an eye-opening experience. I've had, in fact, they're talking to me, no, so much, I'm getting minds up right now. And it's been like that every day of my life since I met this guy.
Cool.
And I enjoy every moment of it. I'd be out there working by myself and I start laughing because we're like when the big, what's the good one here? When the big meteorite was supposed to come by and destroy the earth, right? They were telling me, "You need to go to Spokane. You need to go to Spokane. Because there's going to be earthquakes pop up. You need to go to Spokane." Well, I didn't go. And I was like, "Well, I guess you're testing my faith." And they go, "Yeah, right. What faith, buddy?" But yeah, if I went, you know, but I never did go to Spokane. But yeah, it's been fascinating. And yeah, I've been, I'll say it's truly blessed, really.
Cool.
You know, and everybody in here, it's not by chance. They want to meet you. They're very kind, very loving. And the thing of it is, you know, I don't really drink that much anymore or do anything else because what you do to yourself, you do to them too. And they told me that. They said, look, man, you stop partying. We're getting headaches. I just threw that part
You
in.
just threw that part in, okay. Okay, speaking of parties, somebody needs to wake Mark up over there. Mark, you're on next, buddy. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So yeah, my name's Mark. Live a mile and a half from home. So that's home, Washington.
Home, Washington, right, a mile and a half from home.
But
Hey, neighbors.
I got kind of involved in this when some guy walked into my shop one day, wanted some T-shirts done. So, and then been down to Oregon. Had a fun experience down there. I did notice coming up here to your new house, it's almost the same thing. Other than the driveway's not overgrown yet, so you gotta let that happen.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's been fun for the last few years. I learned a lot. A few things like that. So, I mean, when we down in Oregon had the experience with the portal and some voices. And since I've been home, I had a few little things here and there happen. So, but that's about it.
So if I just heard you correctly, you said when you were in SOA, you saw a portal there?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, you mean that Dr. J guy didn't make that up? No, okay, good deal. Thanks, Mark, you did good. In case you guys watching this video on YouTube land don't know, Mark's not like big fan for being on video and stuff. So he did good. Now to Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hello. So I'm Michelle Chrissinger. I'm from Vancouver, Washington. I've lived here on the West Coast for, I think we're going on 5 years now. I first got interested in the whole Sasquatch, Bigfoot thing when I was little. I was always interested, always curious, always open-minded. Always wanted to be in the forest, still am, always in the forest. Get teased a lot for that. Why don't you go do things like normal people instead of go to the forest? That's what makes me happy. That's what I want to do. Did some researching online, started traveling for work. Went to a lot of places that were very heavily forested, like Christmas morning for hikers. You know, it was me and my dog always. So I haven't had this tremendous experiences like you guys have, but I have had things that have happened that possibly could have been something at the time, but I didn't know any better. Like I said, always been open-minded, always been curious about it. But when I started traveling, I had a lot of time to myself because it's just me and my dog, it's us traveling. So, you know, you work 10 on and 10 off or whatever it is, you've got 4 whole days in Bellingham, Washington to get in trouble.